Hello, friends. My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine, and it is so great to have you with us today for our Rise and Shine live stream. We host these every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern, and give an opportunity for several of the Awaken Magazine executive contributors to share on a specific topic that they are an expert in. They have a lot of wisdom and experience, and we, of course, get to receive that wisdom and experience and take that and integrate it into our own lives. We have lots of different topics that we've been discussing each of the last few weeks. You can dive into those on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in Awaken Magazine, and you'll see a Rise and Shine live stream playlist where you can access all of those. So today we are talking about spiritual entrepreneurship, building a soul-aligned business. And I'm so excited to have with me three of our executive contributors. And so giving them an opportunity to introduce themselves to you if you don't know them already. We've got Nana Kasha, we've got Amanda Slade, and Tracy Dunblazer. So welcome. Good to have you guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, let's begin as we always do, giving you an opportunity to just introduce yourself, share a little bit about who you are and how you are serving the world in this particular season of life. So, Nan, do you mind going first?
No, not at all. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. Well, on this particular topic, I've been an entrepreneur for 40 some years and been online for 20. So I love the topic because ultimately all the spiritual business coaching that I did over the years has turned into a mystery school because I have a long background in many, many different mystery schools, shamanism, energy work, and so on. And what I love now is teaching people how to very quickly become their own authority, reclaim their inner voice, and reclaim how they use their energies along with the divine laws. And then it doesn't matter what you're doing. And it's so much fun because I just got back from England doing spiritual retreats over there and conferences. And I live in the Yucatan and get to do a lot of those too. So I like to give people real experiences as well as bringing them to sacred places where they can remember who they are, activate old key codes, remember they don't have to chase abundance and lots of stuff like that. So ultimately, it's for all of us to wake up to that sacred feminine, that intuitive men and women, and become whole again and listen to our intuition. So I'm so excited about getting to do that with you guys here.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. It's great to have you. Tracy Dunblazer, tell us a little bit about you and all the amazing hats that you wear.
Well, I have so many hats, I won't even take the time to do that right this minute, but I'm a spiritualist, which kind of covers all of it, a spiritualist and a grief counselor and an author. But I'm really here as I'm the current president of the Coalition of Visionary Resources, cover.org. And we are the trade organization for the Mind, Body, Spirit marketplace. So there's the element of the niche of working in mind, body, spirit, but then there's also spiritual entrepreneurship, which is how you address your business. So I'm sure we'll be discussing all of those things today, and I'm thrilled to do it.
Good to have you. Amanda Slade, tell us about you.
Hey, everybody. Amanda Slade, and I'm with Co-Create Your Success. And I came from a 20-year corporate background. Last position was a VP of sales and marketing, and literally my soul got me fired, time to move on. And so for over 25 years, I've been working with clients and people to really awaken to who they truly are and connect at a soul level, and then follow their soul line path and purpose and what the plan is. And I downloaded the Diamond Code Creative System, which helps accelerate that process for them to heal and transform their past. Because listen, I came from hugely codependency and the shoulds, moving into what's really truly soul aligned. And then the system also helps people with the creation and manifestation and their evolution of their becoming. So thank you so much for inviting me. Super excited about being with Tracy and Nan and you today. This is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And as many of you know, Awaken Magazine is dedicated to amplifying the voices of conscious leaders, healers, and coaches like these amazing women. And we do that through magazine and events and books and all kinds of fun stuff. So today I want to talk about, begin to talk about the challenge that a lot of, um, I don't want to say the word young, maybe those in the early stages of starting a spiritual business wrestle with financial security, and following their calling. And oftentimes, individuals that I come across who are in that stage of going, wow, I've had this modality, this experience transform my life. I want to begin to offer this to other people. I'd love to shift into doing this more full time. That individual is oftentimes a number of years into their career.
Exactly.
And then you've got that financial security that you've built up after, as Amanda said, 20 years in corporate.
Yeah.
How can someone know if it's time to really fully step into this spiritual service or work? That would be my first question. Like, how would someone know that? And then how did you know it was the right time for you when you did that? So, Nan, would you mind going first?
Oh, not at all. So when everything falls apart and you have the deconstruction in your life, you know that spirit is saying, get out now, whether that's your job or your house or your marriage or the way you think about yourself. And those are the biggest gifts. So I had a very successful fashion design business in the 80s. And we did $1 million the first year. We soared up. And then the end of the 80s, the economy crashed and everything folded. And I was in the end of my 20s, I was just about 30, and I had no clue that this is just cycles, that this is normal because I was raised in the US where it's go, 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 chase, 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 make it happen, be successful. I was raised to please everybody, work really hard. The harder I worked, the better I was, and then I might get a little bit of approval. And so every perception of 40 years of different businesses being successful, and then in 3 years, 10 years, whatever it was, somehow it going away, internally, I felt like that was failure. And often people feel like they have to, why are you leaving a successful career? Or there's a lot of people, a lot of women especially, who are leaving their marriages or their children are grown and they're feeling that call to get out, listen to it, but they don't even know who they are. So what happens is that you have an inspiration, and I don't believe we have a proper spiritual education in most countries, that we believe we have to chase, we have to work hard. It's going to take a long time. We can't do what we love and have our cake and eat it too. We have so many deep programs on this. And as a master level hypnotherapist, as well as a shaman that I travel and see what's going on inside of people, ultimately, what I think is that if you are hearing the whisper to want to serve, to want to do something, start to listen to that authority and test it, try it. Don't just, I like to jump off the cliff. Okay. So it really depends on you. Jump off the cliff, build the airplane on the way down. Or go out and figure it out bit by bit, because you might be chasing something that isn't really what you want. And ultimately, all of it comes down to divine laws, of which we weren't really educated very well. So we speak against ourselves. I don't know what I'm doing. It never works for me. Last time I did this, it failed. I'm afraid to be disappointed. I can remember sitting in my masterminds and people would come and they would say they were so afraid of being disappointed that they got to where they just didn't even start. So you have to unhook from failure, their perception. This is what you do. You're on a path. The more you learn to listen within and speak what you want, you'll explore it. But there's no one answer. Everything's unfolding. So be easy with yourself.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Amanda, how about for you? How did you know it was the right time, and how would you encourage others to kind of discern that as well?
Well, I thank you, Nan. That was a beautiful unfoldment. You were talking about me, because when literally my soul got me fired, my first day in New York, it was, this awakening. I was already on a spiritual path, and I'd been doing energetic healing work, which was really shifting and changing me, but I didn't know who I was. So I only identified myself as a vice president of sales and marketing. I had no idea what I even liked anymore, what my desires was. Because I did what Nan was saying, because I grew up that way too, that you climb that corporate ladder, you chase after success, you give your all, and you lose yourself in that. And you do not know who you truly are in that. And I think this is where my passion is having people connect to themselves is so important. And so, I would go and sit in parking lots to interview for another corporate job, and I would just sob because I knew it wasn't what I was to do. I had no idea what to do or who I was or what my purpose was, and actually chased after that for about 3-4 years. And what that did though was, as I was really diving deep within myself and healing those patterns, that programming, that conditioning, of the shoulds, of I'm not enough, I need to prove myself, all of that. As I healed that, it then unraveled the tapestry, so I could reweave the tapestry and connect at that deep level to my mission, to my soul, to what I was here to do. So it just, everyone's journey is different. Like what Nam was saying, it could be you get fired, your marriage doesn't work, but maybe a health crisis, any of that is that deconstruction, so you can then reconstruct and recalibrate into what's really there for you and what's waiting for you. It's already there. It's just us saying yes. I'll jump. I too jumped off the cliff, and listen, I was making 6 figures, and like, how am I going to replace that? And I didn't have money in the bank. I didn't have savings to live off of. So it was like, what am I going to do? But when you really allow yourself to tap into faith and to allow the divine, your soul, to guide you, you're never going to be led astray.
Thank you, Amanda. How about you, Tracy? How do people sense the timing? How about you, your own journey?
So I was born all the clairs, psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. I was born in that way. And so interestingly, I knew very much who I was, but really struggled with the ability or the respect of people, of me. A 6-year-old knowing who she is does not go over well with adults. You know what I mean? And so it was a secret that I kept. And I kept that secret. And the one dynamic that was my guiding light was the energy of resistance. Anything that people told me I couldn't do or shouldn't do is usually the direction I went. And I ended up going to New York City. And there that opened up, books would fall out of the shelf for me. I'd have one in my hand. And one time I'm sitting in East West Books, and I had a book in my hand, and it fell to the ground, and another one from the shelf just went boop. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take this one and put this one away. But things like that happened. And the most important thing that I think is there is only one path, and you are always on it. There's never a time when you're not on the path. Everything, every job you hold, every time you get fired. I've been fired multiple times. So every time you get delivered from one job to the next, it offers you the opportunity to prepare at that next level. So, for doing this type of work as a job, I started out going to a friend's birthday party, and she knew that I did palmistry. So she asked me to read her palm. And next thing I know, we have 40 people standing around me in a circle, sticking their hand out at me. And I was like, what is going on? Who are you people? Right. It shocked me, the amount of energy that illuminated in the space every time I went to do this thing. How I started, I was about 27 when I was working, doing special events in all the department stores. And my boss at the time, we traveled around, and he ended up hiring me as he found out that I did readings. Again, I didn't tell anybody. And he found out, and he hired me as a gift with purchase. And
Fantastic. I love it.
Totally get that, because I came from retail.
So we were in Portland, Oregon, and there was a line out the door waiting to do little 5-minute readings with me. And then maybe about 6 months after that, the company sold. And I was like, okay, well, this is something clearly that people want from me. And so I made it my day job. I went and found a couple of stores to work out of, and I worked, 7 days a week for exactly 12 months until they delivered me. Right. I got fired from that job. And that's when I then went out on my own and just started to do it. And then I'm a learn as you go kind of person. So whatever skill I need, I'm not a business person, but I learned, slowly but surely over time. And so it's really just not giving in to your desire to feel self-pity if things aren't going the way you expected them to go, or when other people aren't able to appreciate you. That's not about you. That is your invitation elsewhere. So
your invitation elsewhere. This sounds like an invitation for me to go elsewhere.
You're liberated from this now.
I love it. I want to talk about language for just a moment. These words, spiritual entrepreneurship, spiritual business, soul-aligned business. Do you have any hesitation at all of putting the word spiritual and business together, and why or why not? Nan, would you mind getting us started?
No, I don't at all, but I've been doing this for a very long time. As I've been a hypnotherapist, a homeopathic doctor, energy worker, shaman, I've been through all these, and each part unfolded to another personal part of my journey, which then became part of the professional journey. And I knew very early on, I didn't want to work for anyone else. And I didn't want to fit in. I didn't want to play the politics. I didn't know why. Hadn't been around entrepreneurs. But the idea of being able to step in and do my spiritual work as my primary priority in life, and that's really something I encourage with my students, is make it more of your life, not an hour in the morning, not on the weekend. You have to have the.
Well, look at that. I did not kick Nan out, just so you know. My hands are off the deal. So I'm sure she'll join us again. Yeah. Whoop, here she comes.
Disappeared. There I am. You guys all disappeared. That was really interesting. So, the idea that you have to remember that you are divine in a human body, and that you're here with a promise and a purpose, and that requires more priority, in my opinion, than taking your shower, brushing your teeth every day. So making, whether you're specifically are talking about a business about doing spiritual work. However, I think that every business should be soul aligned. I don't think anyone should be chasing something they hate, compromising their values, being miserable every day, feeding someone else's dream, doing things that literally suck your soul, putting up with being around it. And that's part of the programming that we're getting past, is it's okay. Right now, my husband writes about living a fulfilling life. He had a very severe seizure, Kundalini awakening 6 years ago, and went through being a newborn again, went from being a techie that got American Express online and all of this, to now having to reform his life with about a half a day. And what's important is that we are living in every minute the richest possible life that we can have. I couldn't imagine if I had to get up and go do a job and then come home and try to be spiritual. That's how I started, like everybody else. So putting them together is more like saying, is this the optimal thing right now for my spirit? Is this feeding my soul? Is this igniting my koyopa, my kundalini, my creativity? Is it possible for whatever I'm doing right now to become fulfilling and rich? Because then that will open a door to something else, and to get out of the ego chasing. So I study with the Mayan elders. I teach a lot of ancient sacred mysteries. And the most important thing that I see that the Maya did, which I think would profoundly have changed everything in life, is that from the moment of birth, they knew where they were divine and human. There was no, am I spiritual? Is there a spiritual thing? Is there an invisible world? Could it be? And fighting with people about who believes what. And from the minute of your birth, your birth chart was done, and your family, your village, everybody knew who you were supposed to be, and you were a part of the puzzle. So if you were the king, so to speak, you weren't the king like a king in Europe who took over and stole everybody's money and threatened people. You were the king because it was the position to take care of the family. You had to learn how to speak to the clouds. You had to know how to talk to the spirits because you had to decide what was best for everyone. But everybody had that. I would have been raised as a shaman. I found that, but I didn't know that from birth. So could you imagine being born from birth and everyone around you going, okay, we have to help you be who you were supposed to be? That is a shift you could do now to say, who am I supposed to be? And let that be the guidance instead of, I need to do this to make money. One of the biggest mistakes I see from people who come, who want advice on this topic is, I'm going to just do this thing over here to make some money real quick, and then I'll do what I love. Or and I'm like, well, you can't do that because I've been in too many businesses that will never work. And if that was so easy to just go do that little thing and make money, everybody would be doing that. Right. So it's that ego saying you have to have money. But right now, what I think is success is people who live a fulfilling life. If you get to do what you love and you don't have $1 million and you don't have 10 toasters and 4 Porsches and everything else, it's really not important. That's when you go underneath. What do I want? Do I know what I want? And how do I align with that? So that would be.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you just say you won't have 10 toasters?
Yeah. That was the thing. Once I had a client who was like, I don't have the new toaster, the one with the fat and the bread and the thing and the gold and the this and that. And I'm like, okay, we need to reset our priorities.
I was like, I guess some people want 10 toasters. I mean, I rarely use mine, but
I don't eat bread, so there's no
A woman
toaster.
can never have too many toasters.
Tracy, how about you? When you think about this language, spiritual and business, do you see any resistance of those coming together? Are they hand in hand? How do you process this?
Well, I think there are 2 different things we're talking about. So for COVER, the Coalition of Visionary Resources, we're the mind, body, spirit marketplace. That's what we represent and support, the mind, body, spirit marketplace, and that is a niche. That's what it's called by everybody else in the world, and it's a multi-million-dollar, almost billion-dollar business sector. So mind, body, spirit marketplace is a thing. Then there's how you go about doing business. And you can be a soul-aligned business. Like for a long time, I had a client who, she was a deeply spiritual person. Everything that she did in her life was connected to who she was. And she was also an accountant. And she brought that wisdom, that way of being, that way of connecting with people, that way of educating herself and others, and the integrity of truth and honesty and willingness, right? She brought all of those sacred ways of being into her business. So I think that the other, I think, fallacy that people have when we talk about doing what we love is this illusion that doing what you love is not hard. Because it's really hard. It's awful sometimes, it's like, you're counseling people and you're like, oh my God, if I hear one more person ask if he's going to call, like that there are certain things that when you're I call it being on the front lines of working as a psychic, that's what relationships are, what everybody's focused on. And when you hear that 10 times a day, you want to pull your hair out, right? But at the same time, it's a very fundamental need for every individual, is the way in which they connect and companion other people, including themselves. So everything on certain days is going to be a bit of a struggle, but it's how you embrace that struggle. It's your willingness to own that, hey, it's a privilege to struggle in this way, right? When you begin to own that, it allows a whole other level of detachment, which calls on a new level of wisdom that you also get to grow as you are helping or facilitating others in their growth. And I think that when we talk about business, no matter what you're growing, whether it's your wallet or your expansion, your business, your product line, yourself, whatever it is, it's all about expansion and growth and the ownership of that and your willingness to constantly innovate. So that's where I come down on those two things.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, I have never had this happen. Look at what is going on up here with this light.
This happens to me all the time. My
Okay,
husband
one
says,
moment.
I don't even tell you what the weird things that you do. I love it.
I'm just gonna untwist that and be like, what the
Wait till it
heck?
comes back on.
Tracy, I don't know what you're putting out over there, but if you could just hold it for a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Amanda, spiritual business. What do you think about these words?
Well, so in the early 2000s, remember life coaching, energetic healing, spiritual mentorship. None of that was really like an everyday, understanding that that's possible. So I remember when I started my business, I was actually taught by public relation people, don't talk about spirituality. It's too woo. People won't relate to it. And it was really not true. It was what people were looking for. So I bring those two together all the time because I noticed too for myself, I was hiding in a spiritual closet. And it was like, I need to come out of my spiritual closet and be me. And I think that's true for so many people that they separate going to work, spirituality. No, just like what Tracy was bringing forward, that you can be an accountant and have this spiritual guidance always guiding you and infusing you, and that's what you're spreading. So I don't think it's either or as far as a career or having your own business. You can be so aligned in a career because that can be what your purpose is, because maybe you're walking into that corporate office and you're being the light that's shining the light in your department or who you're dealing with. So I merged though. I had to sort through that for the first pretty 10 years of my business, so all throughout 2000, until I finally went, no, this is who I am. This is what my business is. And this is what we're actually sharing, is helping people connect at that soul level so that they are true to themselves and not living in the third dimension or whatever. I do disagree with it has to be a struggle. It does need to be focused energy, and that having your own business, you're going to put effort into it, but it's how you deal with it. And I would say in the first 10, 15 years, I really struggled with my business because I wasn't really letting spirit guide me. I was still doing it the old corporate third dimensional way, the have tos, the shoulds, pushing energy, instead of moving into more fifth dimensional energies of allowing flow, synchronicity, and really being attuned to energy and to the divine guidance, to the soul's guidance. And so I know what to do, when to do, who to do it with, and so on. And it doesn't mean that I won't have challenges along the way, that I won't make mistakes, because I will. And, recently, even in the last year, I made a mistake in my business, but I learned from it. That's part of the growth and the evolution. When you do make a mistake or you think you failed at something. It's just, no, that is now getting you here. So I bring those two together, that spiritual entrepreneurship. I love how people talk about soulpreneurs. But even again, if you don't have a business that's spiritually, that is not about spirituality or energy healing, but you have a widget business, you still can have that spiritual alignment guiding you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why, I shouldn't say one, I hope it's the main reason why people who get into, let's just call it healing, transformation, anything to do with helping an individual like move forward in their life or business. The reason why we got into this work is because we actually want to help people. Like that's the whole point, is to help a person and or people. And yet in the process, there is such an expectation and or need to market oneself, to actually communicate about what you do. I come across people who go, well, I just want to help people. And I'm like, okay, well then, how are they going to find you? Are they going to just magically start knocking at your front door? Like just magically showing up? I'm like, it could happen. It totally could happen. I mean, I don't want to say it can't, but it's probably pretty unlikely. So how do you navigate, Nan, the desire to help people and the need to communicate the ways in which you help them? Because really that's what it is. It's just communication.
Yes.
It's just getting the word out there, right? How do you navigate that desire versus the need to communicate?
Yes. Well, and the interesting thing is that you said it could happen to just, let the fairies bring you someone, and it happens all the time. It's just not something you can plan on, right? Because the how is always up to the mystery. It's always up to the universe, and the how can be absolutely magical. It's just that we were taught to believe it. We've been giving our faith into chasing, working a lot of hours, investing a lot of money. And when I first got online and I was living in California, speaking at all the events, everything was about charge more money, pay $50,000 for a website, pay $100,000 for coaching, and the marketing was just the same as we were doing before, but about do your spiritual line business. But it was push, shove, chase, and it was so disheartening when I got and saw behind the curtain the Wizard of Oz, who's very sweet compared to what I saw. And it was the same ego chase. It just had the dressing. And now, all these years later, everybody's using spiritual language in their marketing. I remember 5 years ago or something, whenever it was, I started to see, like, what in the world are you selling saying spiritual something? It's everywhere now. So it's really about discernment, and it has to go back. You can't stand out. If you have $1 million, if you came out of corporate with a huge thing, you can go buy yourself a fancy website. You can get onto a lot of media. You can do whatever you need to do. It's fantastic. Great. Share your voice, share what you're passionate about. But if you can't do it that way, you have to be in your inner self saying that money comes to me and flows to me through my spiritual purpose. Money flows to me from multiple directions, expected and unexpected, through divine connections, through serving the greater good, through me being who I am. And it's not an option for me anymore, but I've been doing this a long time. So like everybody's been saying, it's a process, right? You're taking step by step, you're learning this, and then you go through, oh my gosh, that didn't work. And the tendency to go back, to try to be a workaholic again, to still kind of dial back and be like, let it come to you. If you're in the flow versus chasing, there's a completely different reality. Honestly, completely different reality. I would say that what Tracy was saying is that it's always a struggle, that there's truth to that, but I would never own those words because I don't want everything to be a struggle. Doesn't mean I don't work hard, doesn't mean I don't break my foot, doesn't mean I don't, have like, where's that money going to come from? Yeah, but it don't see it that way. I had to change that inner part of me, and I refused to be what I considered a sleazy salesman. I was a hypnotherapist. I was invited to come and teach corporate. I think Amanda was mentioning, and they did the same thing to me. They go, "Oh, you'd be perfect to come and coach sales teams. However, don't say hypnosis." It was like, show up, but don't be you. Show up and hide behind the curtain. Like I finally said no, and there was all this bunny dangling there. And then you say, so you're going to have these challenges, and you're going to think that, oh, if I don't get that ad, if I don't do this thing, if this person doesn't hire me, oh, they said they're going to hire me. Now they didn't hire me. That's life, and all of that is a reflection of you. So another Mayan wisdom is that this is the mirror of this is the planet of mirrors, and there isn't anywhere that you can look that is not a reflection of you. So if you're chasing it, you're telling the mirror to change. But if you're going in here and you're seeing and feeling yourself with the most optimal people and wonderful people, and you shift from a lot of the success language and success principles, from being you have to do this and you have to do that, to what serves me, what makes me feel radiant, what makes me feel alive, what makes me feel happy to receive, and are you willing to receive? And the deeper you go on that, then you meet the right people. I've gotten clients in a bus, in a van from the airport. I've gotten the clients sitting at tables where I didn't know any of the other people, and they leaned over. I've walked into huge conferences and went, Spirit aligned me with the right people, and I walk around like that, and I'm not desperate. And then opportunities open, and then I start to see and feel that everything is flowing to me, and the invitations are there, and the people are there. And then you have to detach from resistance to certain things. If you want an online business, you've got to learn some online stuff or have the money to pay somebody. That's just a fact. However, a lot of people want to show up and just do their groovy thing and not have to market, just like you said. So there's a balance. You can have a partner that does that. You could have a group of women that you want to work with that all promote each other. There's a lot of ways to work into it, but realize that you're not chasing anyone. There's no competition out there. You sow what you reap. There is no other way to do it. No one can take your good. So the seeds that you plant, are those the clients you want? Or are you desperate, and they're answering that desperate call? So it's really an internal job, which is really good, and also takes that work that can feel like struggle. Why is it so hard? Because my dad, he just went to work and showed up and got paid, and then he became really rich and blah, blah, blah. You're a different person. You're living in a different time, and we're in cycles. Things change very fast. I've been online for 20 years. There was the period when Facebook marketing, marketing on Facebook was phenomenal. People were making so much money. And then one day they changed one rule, and everybody's income stopped. So you have to be in that flow of cycles. You're always being liberated to a new way. And I've known many, many spiritual teachers who don't do any advertising at all in the traditional sense. It's just that you have to understand the balance of what's right for you.
Thank you so much, Nan. I think the key thing that I'm hearing in the midst of that is there's an internal reality, and I'm just trying to, as I'm stating this, I'm trying to internalize what you're saying. There's an internal reality that is being mirrored into the world, right? So I'm seeing my internal reality that's happening outside of there.
Mirrored back to you from the world. Yes.
Right. And in the process, I've got to find methodology of communicating that feels right to me, that feels in alignment with my values and helps me stay in the flow. And that sense of chasing, it's kind of like the more I chase, the more I'm pushing it away.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. That is so
it's really it's really about vibrational alignment, David. What Nan was talking about is when you own and embody vibrational alignment of who you are, your value, even what you want to charge, what you want to put out there, what you're marketing. If you're not in vibrational alignment and totally owning and embodying that, then that's what's going to be mirrored back to you. Yeah. And when you go into true vibrational alignment, you could have a program that's $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, but you better be in vibrational alignment with that $10,000, $12,000 program, because if you're not, there will be a pushback and people will not say yes. But when you're in alignment, then that is possible.
And it seems like the things that you are both talking about, that's not something you can figure out in the first year of business. Like,
Nope.
it doesn't feel like
Well,
that's
you can. It's just that if you start like the way I have people start is we go in and I have a program called Wishes Fulfilled, and it's literally how do you keep looking at day to day? What is your thought? What are you saying? Is your internal conversation congruent with your external conversation? Is it congruent with what you want? Oh, it never works out for me. I can't afford it. There's not enough. Nobody will want it. That lady didn't, like that can't happen. And so is this, but you can literally change in 24 hours, in 2 days. We have to get out of delay conversation. We have to get out of believing it takes a lot of time. And yes, you grow over time. There's some wisdom you don't gain because it's your wisdom.
Yeah. I guess what I was trying to communicate was without someone else's help, left to my own devices, it might be challenging for
Oh
me
yeah.
to
Oh,
figure
yes. No,
that
you
out
cannot
in
do it
the year.
alone. No.
Like, it just feels like, oh boy, you're talking about, yes, can I make a shift in my mind in one moment? Yes, I can. But if I've thought a certain way for my whole life, it's
Yes.
probably going to be challenging for me to figure that out on my own.
Yeah, it goes very deep. So it's uncovering those layers of who you are and having a mentor, having something that you can use daily, doing that and then following that path. What mentor is appearing to you? The teacher appears, or the method appears, or the podcast appears, or the conversation appears. Yeah.
Yeah. Tracy, talk to me about, you got into this because you wanted to help. Well, you kind of stumbled into it, but you is your gift with purchase all of a sudden. But
I love that.
you wanted to help people, right? But also there's a need to communicate how you help people. How do you navigate that world?
Well, so I have 3 things to contribute to this conversation. I have always been who I am. And my whole mission in my own life, my purpose for me was to heal myself. And my stumbling into it portion, I had always helped people. I have, from earliest age, I was in student government. Every opportunity to lead others, I was naturally moved into it and happy to be there. But I think that the point at which you choose a business in the mind, body, spirit marketplace, one of the things that I realized is that, there's this whole idea of altruism, right? And wanting to help people. And I don't know that that's always true. I think oftentimes people get into this because they really want to help themselves, and not help themselves like help themselves to the cash. But when we are working with our own healing and our own manifestation and our own relationship to all of the patterns that we came in with, to teach someone else our process helps us see ourselves in a new way, which leads me to, when you're starting a business, marketing is ultimately the way in which you define yourself. I struggled with that because I am every woman. I really am. I channel, I'm a medium, I'm a psychic, I'm an empath. I can tap dance, I do all of these different things. I'm a salesperson. But when you have to be able to really describe to somebody in your elevator pitch, one sentence, who you are. So I started out being a spiritual empath because that's what I really do, is I take on somebody's spirit, and that's how I read what's happening. What I really am is a shaman. I mean, I am always in the other worlds. I grew up dreaming, dealing with other entities, other galactic beings. I had all this whole experience as a child. So one of you ladies mentions this idea of what, I think it was Amanda, what being what the world is ready for you to be. There is a real truth to that. The point at which you rise up to meet the occasion, and you let yourself be and reveal who you are to those who are ready to receive you. Yeah. And that's the thing, is those two things go hand in hand. And when I refer to struggle, that's what that is. Like, whatever, I don't care what you call it. You can nice it up, all light and love as much as you want, but it's still that back and forth of the natural process of preparation and awakening. So, I think that learning to define your niche, starting out as small as possible, meaning, I am a psychic, I am a this, I am a that. Starting out in a very narrow niche will actually bring you more clientele than being everything, because then people don't know they don't know what you specialize in.
That is a hard lesson for people that are early in this business
It is.
but no, Tracy, I just want to help everybody.
Exactly. I have one fun little story. The best way that I got a client, well, that is most memorable to me, because I've always worked pretty much only by referral. But I was living in an apartment complex in Los Angeles. It was right at Robertson and the 10 freeway. And right at the end of the street where you exited the freeway, and there was a bus stop right there. Our trash bins were on the other side of the fence in our parking lot. And I had been going through old marketing materials from like 10 years or 20 years prior, old business cards. I still have the same phone number I've had for 30 years. And I had dumped all of this stuff in the trash. The trash people came and dumped that into their truck. Meanwhile, one of my cards fell out over near the bus stop. And a young man saw my business card and went, huh, what's that orange thing? And he was like, oh my goodness. And he called me and I taught him Reiki.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love how spirit
Marketing
works.
at the
I
bus.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so
Yeah.
good. Okay, one last question. In 30 to 60 seconds, if you were to give one piece of advice to your younger self as you were starting out your spiritual business, what would that one piece of advice be? Tracy, do you mind going first?
I don't at all. It's okay to have money. It's okay to receive something in return for what you offer. And it's okay to value yourself. You are valuable and you deserve to receive for what you offer.
Wonderful. Thank you. Tell us more, if you don't mind, about how people can work with you, if you want to share that in the context of Cover and where they can get more information.
So cover.org, COVR.org. Anybody with a mind, body, spirit business, we want your support. We want it's a great way to network. We have at this point almost 1,200 members all over the world. We have the Cover Visionary Awards every year, which is the premier awards program specifically for the mind, body, spirit marketplace. And it's very exciting because this year we added, I just noticed my cat, that's hilarious. That's Charlotte back there. We just added a whole section of categories for visionaries, for people who are, it was mainly about products and stores and being either an online retailer or a brick and mortar retailer. But now we've got over 100 100 categories. And we want you to bring your products and yourself and participate. And we're doing I'm so excited, our first live, since the pandemic, gala in Minnesota in June of 2026 for the awards ceremony. So
June 22nd.
June 22nd, 2026. Mark your calendars now.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event. Very fun. Thank you, Tracy. Amanda, how about you? As you look back to your younger self, what 30 to 60 seconds of advice would you give to her?
Follow your own energy of your own self-aligned purpose and path, no matter what anyone else says, no matter anyone else's opinions, and really connect to those soul-aligned values that you hold that will always direct you in the right way. And because I just found by listening to other people's opinions, by wanting their validation, their approval, you're going to get derailed and distracted into what really isn't true for you.
Thank you, Amanda. Tell us, how can people work with you? What would be a good first step with Co-Create Your Success, and how can they connect online?
So first of all, they can download a free manifestation template, which is from the Diamond Co-Creative System. It helps people save time, money, and energy and effort. And by downloading this free gift, it can really help you with your business. And if you're starting out, to get aligned to what that business is, what the message is, who your ideal clients are, all of that, even to generate revenue. But it can be used also for relationships, homes. I just manifested a new home by looking at 2 properties, done and done. And so this tool can be found on co-createyoursuccess.com, and download that free tool. We have the Diamond Code Club, which is our entry point to learn about what the Diamond Co-Creation codes are. We have Evolve into Your All Fifth Dimension Mentorship, a group program, and then our high-end program is our Mastermind, Master Heart, Master Soul group circle. We call it the Diamond Light Circle, and this is where only 12 women are part of this circle, and it takes your whole life from business to the next level. We just had people be published from it. People launched new businesses, and
Wonderful.
also be speakers. It's amazing. Diamond Light Circle.
Wonderful. Co-createyoursuccess.com. Of course, we'll put the links to that and cover in the description. Nan, tell us about looking back a few years ago to your younger self, starting out the spiritual
just a few years
business.
ago, yes.
What would that 30 to 60 seconds of advice be?
Well, I agree with the other ladies, 100%. So to add something different, I think for me, the inner thing was that I was never good enough, that I didn't know that I had that belief, but that I was always seeking to be better, 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 and never satisfied. I didn't think I was loved. So I would say to listen and trust, because I would I would do what I wanted. I would listen to spirit. But I would feel worried and guilty and drag all that other stuff with me. So to trust it, to listen to it, and to realize that you're loved. I mean, deeply loved, because ultimately, not like a fantasy, like, we're saying like, oh, I saw butterflies everywhere you go every day. I thought that when I first learned meditation and everything. And then my daughter died. So I had a whole other deconstruction of another belief system that said, oh, if I do spirituality perfect, then nothing bad will happen.
Right.
So, ultimately, right? So ultimately, loving yourself through everything is for you. You're being liberated, whether it looks like it's a failure. Stop rescuing yourself and staying in that same home if it's trying to leave you. That trust and that love, I think, is most important ultimately, because if I probably would have taken a similar path. I just would have had a lot more presence, a lot more fun. And you're going to go through cycles. This fantasy of the patriarchal society that you're going to get a business and it's just going to go up, 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 and never do anything but go up is just ridiculous. It doesn't match any divine laws, any manifesting laws, any nature laws at all. And you're going to cycle. And sometimes you're meant to do that. So to accept that.
Thank you, Nan.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, and what would you encourage them to do in terms of working with you?
Well, if you go to nanakasha.com, if you get on the list, then we'll let you know everything we're doing. We do a lot of spiritual retreats. I do a lot of classes, and I do at least 3 live YouTube channel shows every week. Right now, we're doing something called the Return of the Priestess, and that is for everyone, realigning to your intuition and realizing that you're the voice, the body, the hands of the goddess, of the divine on earth. That's your mission here. and remembering that. So it's a lot of wonderful speakers. That's all, unlimited replays on the channel. So if you go to YouTube and put in Nanakasha or Joyful Nan, because I've been on there so long, I actually had a handle. And nanakasha.com. Also, we have a shop, and we have a lot of free products, a lot of things that would support you to shift your mind in that way. One thing we're doing in a few weeks, we're starting a new class called The Alchemy of Abundance. And this is this rise of the sacred feminine, again, listening to that intuitive side to follow your abundance rather than the chasing. And in the meantime, if you go to the website, we're giving away a workshop that I did a few months ago called Money Manifestation Magic. And magic is just knowing how to use the laws of the universe. And so this is all about re-harnessing the wisdom that you already have within you and finding that solution to wherever you are, because there's already a solution there. So we have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of things you can join in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nan.
Thank you.
Tracy, Nan, Amanda, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your story, your experiences. Really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching, you can check out all of our previous Rise and Shine live streams on YouTube by checking out Awaken Magazine. So I encourage you to check those out and subscribe.
Thank
All
you,
right.
David.
Good to be with you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Until next time.